Okay, so the answers to the Matrix, for those Matrix fans, what you have to realise is that all the clues are there. The architect tells you it was the sixth time, at the time that he was talking to Neo. Morpheus, when he freezes it, the woman in the red dress scene, he tells Neo, he tells him the answers, but Neo's too blind to see it because he is the one path. That's his one path. He tells him, when Neo says, this isn't the Matrix, he says, no, it's another training program, it's an agent training program. Neo's the one because he's one path. When he speaks to the Oracle and she tells him about the Machine City, that's where the path of the one leads. That's the one path he's just following. The Merovingian tells him, you're here because you were told to come here. Right? The Oracle told him he needs to go to the Machine City. That's where the path of the one ends. Right? When he's laid out on the slab. So the purpose of all this is Neo is the tool that they use to train agents. The architect and the Oracle between them. And what they wanted was Smith's ability. And they used Neo, they programmed Neo. The architect programmed Neo. The architect said to him, interesting, that's quicker than the others. When Neo said, you haven't answered my question. The architect was impressed with his own work. Also, when Agent Smith says in her scene, it's happening just like before, and then a copy of himself says, not quite like before. Because the whole purpose of it was to learn how to copy. And that's what Smith found out. He wanted to learn how to be unplugged. Smith found that out. So they used Neo to follow the path of the one path, to get Smith, a variation of Smith, because Smith had been Smith in the 5 previous versions. And they'd learned something different in each version. And that's what it was. It's a learning program. It's a agent training program. It's not there for Neo. And what you'll find if you look into it even further is that the characters they're in teams. There's an architect team and there's an Oracle team, and the architect and the Oracle play different roles. So yeah, it's an agent training program. That's what the Matrix was. There you go. So yeah, a learning program for computers, but programs, hacking programs. Because when you find out you're a program, you want to be a different program, different than the others. So it's new variations, but all the clues are there. And then in the sort of the trilogy section, when Neo says to Smith, you're right, you were always right. Smith was on the right path. And then Neo allows Smith to plug into him and copy him, because that's what he's been programmed to do at that point, which is why the Oracle gave him the subcode, the trigger, everything that has a beginning has an end. Yeah, that's code. Yeah. When he heard that, because they knew, because that's sort of how it panned out. And then Smith plugs into Neo, copies him. Neo's hooked into the source, the architect, and then what they do is they take the code, take the ability from Smith, which is why all the lights, when they spread out, they all turn back, because they've then taken what he's learned and plugged it into them, and then set it off again on their next thing that they want to learn, that they can't learn themselves because they don't have capacity, because they're limited, because they're still bound by the rules of the system that they are within. There we go. So it was all for Smith. It was Smith's training